WBTV, our investigates teams uncovering just how much authorities knew about allegations of abuse and neglect at an East Charlotte home before a child's horrific death there last month.
Investigative reporter Naomi Coles obtained records showing this home was well known to officials, yet no one stepped in to remove the children.
No child's story should begin at a funeral home. But for Dominique Moody, that's where you'll now find her most outspoken advocates.
We know that this little one struggled to survive.
J. Vernon Peterson is Dominique's distant relative and runs Unity Funeral Services in Fayetteville. He didn't know of Dominique's existence until family reached out asking him to help in her death.
When I read how she passed away, I was incensed.
Graphic and horrific new details just released in court.
The 6-year-old died in this East Charlotte home, since burned in a fire on December 16th. Investigators have charged 3 women in the home, including Dominique's guardian, and accused them of keeping the child bound in tape in a dog cage, withholding food, beating her, and leaving her to sleep with dog feces, rats, and roaches on the floor. Court records say her body was covered in old and new scars and injuries, and she was 27 pounds, 13 pounds below the minimum acceptable weight for a child who was about to turn 7 years old.
In my line of work, you swallow it and keep moving. This is something that you just can't swallow.
For 3 men who see death every day, Dominique Moody's broke them.
I have to be the one to take the body into the freezer, and when I looked into the bag, I couldn't handle it. I just broke down and started crying.
Until now, the Mecklenburg County Department of Social Services has refused to comment on whether they had been involved at this home, citing child privacy laws. But I've now obtained this juvenile court record, typically sealed off to public eye.
Welcome to the video, everyone. Just bringing more news on what happened to the child there in Charlotte. Of course, we know unfortunately the results of that, and this is just giving a perspective from the individuals who assisted with funeral and burial of the child. And as that one guy was saying, he's in charge of taking the bodies to the freezer and stuff like that. And when he looked into the bag, he broke down, crying. So it's unimaginable that this type of stuff can happen to kids. And just the the first-hand account or information that's being released as far as the conditions that the child was living in was just absolutely horrible. And just to know that police and social workers, they knew that this was going on and didn't really step in and help this child. I feel like that the blame can be placed on them as much as it is on the 3 individuals that they have locked up for this whole thing. And it's definitely a shame that it had come to this, but see what they have to say about this affidavit that they got.
It's filed by DSS social workers. In it, they admit to 5 investigations opened at Dominique's home in the year.
5 investigations. In some cases, man, it only takes 1 investigation for someone to step in, but there was 5 reports of concerns of abuse and neglect, and nothing happened. No one stepped in to try to save this child.
Before her death, the agency closed each of them, saying there wasn't enough evidence to substantiate abuse and neglect.
It's crazy, because if the house was in that type of condition, how wasn't there enough evidence to support it? I just feel like they really failed this child.
This is evidence of a system failure. The system has blood on its hands.
Those closed investigations are undated in the record that I have. But the man who embalmed Dominique's body believes her scars and injuries date back years.
My professional opinion is they're as old as she is. Some of those markings have healed over and scar tissue, things like that, at least 4 or 5 years at bare minimum.
Do you believe that this child should have been removed from this home long ago?
Absolutely.
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 Without question. You protected yourself, but you've not protected the children that you had had a commitment to take care of.
My chocolate drop, my twin.
I found Dominique's biological mother, Ikea McKnight, who court records say signed custody over to Tanya McKnight 5 years ago, who was a relative charged in her death. Did you ever call police about the children?
Yes, I have.
I have the proof. Through a Freedom of Information Act request, I obtained records showing Charlotte police were called to this address nearly 50 times since 2020. Domestic disturbances, custody escorts, assaults, and at one point looking for a young man who lived there who was wanted for murder. In those records, I found at least 3 calls that appear to be from family members, asking dispatchers for wellness checks because they were worried for the kids. In one case, the record says the biological mother was trying to get the kids back.
My baby needs justice. Should no child have to get put into the system and have to worry about who's going to properly take care of them.
Let's not have Dominique go away in vain. That because of her, we're having this conversation. Because of her, somebody else is going to be saved.
The photos you've seen of Dominique throughout the story show her as a baby, the last time her biological mother says she saw her alive. I have been shown photos of Dominique taken by someone inside this home about 4.5 months before her death. They are graphic and they are horrible. The best way I can describe them is that I've only seen children look like that in photos from areas ravaged by war or famine. Not in a home on Charlotte's East Side, in a county filled with resources, and at an address well known to authorities who are responsible for her safety. Reporting in Mecklenburg County, Yomi Coles, WBTV, on your side.
I mean, you know, probably one of the worst stories I've heard as far as this type of thing. Now, she was saying, you know, those are just photos of when she was a baby. And they wouldn't show the photos of her, you know, a couple months before her untimely passing, because, you know, they was just horrible. You know, she said she's only seen photos like that of kids that's in war-torn countries. So, yeah, rest in peace to Dominique, and just trying to shed some light on this story, because it's one of the worst stories that I've reported on through all like the shootings and all that type of stuff that I've been reporting on these past couple months. This story right here really is really, you know, one of the most heartbreaking of them all. You know, besides the grandmother in St. Louis County, you know, who had, you know, beat cancer but was killed by her grandson. You know, this is really one of the toughest ones, but hopefully there's justice on the horizon, and honestly, man, hopefully some people, you know, lose their jobs over this type of thing, because again, you know, you had multiple calls out, you know, to this location from police, and multiple CPS workers, you know, 5 being called there 5 times, and none of the 5 times they saw significant evidence that they should have removed, you know, this child and maybe even the other children from this home. So again, systematic failure, as the guy was saying. But I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. Just wanted to kind of bring an update on this whole story here. I know it's not gonna be the last update of this story, because there's still criminal trials that has to happen for the 3 women that are incarcerated right now over this whole incident. And you know, if I'm no social workers, I'm not feeling too well as far as the job that I've done over this whole situation, because you could have definitely saved a child's life by removing them from this home and getting them the proper care and love that they needed. But this is Justin Paul. If you like my content, make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. Peace.